some hockey news. I got my thing here. Some hockey news this morning.
Big hockey news today.
As an extension has been reached between the Penguinos and their captain, Sidney Crosby, a 2-year contract extension. It'll take him right through to the end of the 27 season, carrying an average annual value of, take a guess, $8.7 million. The same cap hit he has been on for the last 11 years. It's a 12-year contract he signed at $8.7 million per.
How big of a deal is this? I'd say a considerable one. He is a lot better than an $8.7 million player now. Sure, he's getting a little older, but the drop-off has been minimal. He's still, in my mind, a top 10 player in the league and was, excellent last year on a team that really didn't have a lot of help around him as much as we've seen in years past there. This is crazy, man. You think about what some other players make.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even a particular Calgary Flame and what Sid's going to make here. This is a huge favor to Kyle Dubas and the Pittsburgh Penguins because they can now allocate another $2 to $3 million that should be on top of that elsewhere.
Yeah. And what he is now, has been for years. He's done that. You think first overall, there's some Stanley Cups in there. He's done them a great, like you say, service with the cap hit. By the time it's all said and done, he'll have played 19 seasons at $8.7 million.
At the same number. Goodness.
And how that works, Chris Johnston I think it was Chris or Puckpedia was laying it out. So year one of the extension, because he's got one more year left.
Yeah.
Of course, it's the same money, but year one of the extension is a $9 million signing bonus. His base is $780,000.
Yeah.
And then the base in year two is $1.09 million with a $6.53 million signing bonus.
Of the 17.4 million in total, 15.53 in bonuses.
Yeah.
That's what everyone's doing these days. Everyone loves the bonuses. I saw that with Leon's deal as well. I think he was around $1 million a year on his deal. Look at that little guy right there. Talking about sandwiches. He's all excited.
So pretty amazing that, because here's the thing. For those that are unfamiliar, he wears the number 87. He did it junior. He has his entire career. His contract was, 8.7. You see the tie in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering from a contractual negotiation standpoint, how that went.
Sid, we'd like to give you 10, but how cool would it be if you had 8.7 again?
Yeah, we
and look, $1 million here or there, we'll throw some sort of a nameplate or a statue up when you're done, and let's just keep it at that really cool number of 8.7.
And it sounded like maybe there was an appetite to go 3 years, 4 years. It's like, two's good.
I think 2's great.
I think 2's all right.
And it's essentially 3 years because, as you said, this will be the last year of his deal. This year, that salary, which is the same as the one he'll be on his new extension, 21st in the NHL, which is okay.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a deal. But already for next year, with the extension signed and raises coming into players, he'll be the 38th highest paid player in the NHL next season at that same number as everyone else continues to make more. Yeah. And that's without new deals from Marner, Rantanen, Ekblad, Marchand, amongst others, who I think will come in over that 8.7 mark. Make no mistake, this is a monster deal. And it's weird. We've seen Sid win. We've seen Sid go everything team first. We've seen other players say, it's your job as the GM to fit pieces in around us as stars, and the stars make the money. We'll see if this allows Pittsburgh to get closer to contender status. It's been tough watching the last couple of years. It looked like they were going to get in last year, and then down the stretch, they couldn't beat Washington.
Yeah.
Who, despite being a minus 40 goal differential, got into the postseason. They didn't.
And that's the thing. I don't know how close they are to being a contender. They've got that Carlson deal. I know there's some money being, but
he's still a good player, but yeah.
I don't know. I just think this is a guy feels like he's doing the right thing. He's doing his team a favor.
Right.
And I don't think it's one of those things where the union is going to come. Sid, it's you're kind of costing our guys. He's Sidney Crosby. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, there's no comp to Sid, I don't think.
You sign whatever deal. You've been everything for that franchise. He cannot play for anybody else. We say that all the time, but you saw Mike Modano leave Dallas, goes to Detroit, gets scratched for his. Be a Penguin, stay there your entire career, and it's great for everybody involved. So 8.7 for another 2. So 3 more years of Sid.
there's still part of me that says go when that deal's done and sign a low money 1-year deal and play with McKinnon in Colorado. But we'll see what's left of Sid at that point.
Yeah.
And again, it just, when you go this far with one jersey, it just makes it that much bigger of a hurdle to leave, because it's such a special thing to be a one jersey player. I think players believe that, organizations believe that, fans love it.
And you don't always have the opportunity to stay. You look at Steven Stamkos. He probably could have, whatever, should have, whatever, been a Lightning for life. But the team was ready to move on. He was not ready to hang him up. He's obviously got some years left. The situation is, it's not rare, but it's a unique one, and it's favorable for everybody that the Penguins still have an appetite to pay him.
Even Giordano, you think about it, it's like, if not for that stupid expansion draft, it's probably a one jersey player.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a lot of forces out there that make it really hard to keep a player in one market his whole career in one jersey. If it can happen, it's pretty special. And, I wonder what that's like. Like if they're not good or they miss the next 2 to 3 years, is he like, yeah, that was that? Or is it like, I've got that itch and I'm willing to trade the one jersey thing for one shot with my pal? And
it's tough, right? We don't know a whole lot about Sid. That's the one thing about his career. We don't know. Has he got kids? He got a wife? We don't know anything really about Sid. He's been very protected right from the time he entered the National Hockey League. I remember his first visit to Calgary. There was the team staff, and then there was Sid's staff. He had one representative that was with him all the time.
Yeah.
Just to make sure nothing sideways happened. So I don't know. What hasn't he won? You can leave and go somewhere, but you've won pretty much everything.
I think here's what maybe will scratch the itch for him if the Penguins aren't good. At least we have best on best back, and there'll be 4 nations this winter, and he'll get to play with the likes of McDavid and McKinnon and all those star Canadian centers. Bedard probably plays on that team. And then 2 years after that, it's going to be Winter Olympics, and there again, he'll get to do it. So maybe that allows him to stay a Penguin for life if they're not competitive again. Our boy Jack is a big Penguins honk. I don't know if you know that.
I am familiar somewhat.
So they've done some things to that roster. I think they'll be a little better, but I just don't know that you can say they're hanging with the Titans of the East. I don't know if Jack wants to weigh in, but they've made some moves I don't mind, and trying to bolster that group while navigating that really tight cap spot.
They still they feel like a team that's in the mix for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And then you roll the dice. What's Evgeny Malkin at this point of his career?
Yeah.
Karlsson, while still very good, is getting older. We know that Letang looked like maybe he was starting to fall off. It was a great team. They are laden with Hall of Famers and some of the best of our era, our generation.
Gensel's out the door. They bring in like a boatload of prospects for them. A lot of B prospects. Do any of those guys pop? And like they just haven't had a lot of draft picks they've used because you've been in this contention window. And so what are you going to do? I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to look at some of the additions they made here. The Rutger McGroarty deal was a big one. They traded Jagger for him.
Yeah. He
wouldn't sign with Winnipeg. So can he step in? Does he need time in the American League? But that was, a way to get a little bit younger there. But otherwise, it looks like, some of the pieces from a contending team of yesteryear.
Like that's the thing with this contract. I think it's, on one hand, it's gives them an opportunity to spend money elsewhere. They can add some talent, this sort of thing. I don't know that I see. To me, it's just more, this is a career Penguin, face of the franchise. He's keeping the same cap hit. It's the 87, the number thing, and he's just sticking around, as opposed to, because they would have had the conversation. What do you want to do?
Yeah. No,
I've got 1 year left. We can move you somewhere. Whatever you want to do, I'm good. I'll stay. All right, stay. I don't know that it's necessarily a move that's going to really open floodgates for them to become a real contender all of a sudden.
No, I agree with that. They just don't have enough in the system. But I also think if you went around to some of these contending teams and said, man, how much better would you feel if you had another $3 million of cap space? They do backflips, but it's not enough to close the gap from them being a bubble team to, win your division.
And I know quietly,
on the same page there.
When we talk to guys like Drager, there was the conversation. So what happens if he's not even keen, but if he's, I'll listen. I'll maybe go somewhere.
Yeah.
Teams that would be what kind of a deadline ad? Obviously Gretzky played for St. Louis and then went to the Rangers. We've seen marquee guys go.
Yeah.
But man, and maybe we'll find out that the Stamkos thing is as big, but it just doesn't have that same feel. If Sidney Crosby was potentially in the trade market this year, it would be it'd be madhouse. It'd be crazy to watch.
Well, and they were down in Vegas doing the old media car wash thing, and it was before this deal was done, and you knew that Sid and the Penguins had a plan, because to say, yeah, we don't have anything done at that was not going to, that just creates a media firestorm. And instead he showed up and said, yeah, it's close. It's almost done. And then it's like, there's no issue. Can you imagine the circus around that team?
Yeah.
He was traveling all year without a deal.
So Jack, how do you feel? You're a big, Steelers are 2-0. Sidney signs on for another 2 years. You got to be just Jack.
Yeah, I'm excited about the extension. I think, he deserves to be a Penguin for life. And I don't think the team is going to be any better, to be honest. They brought in Kevin Hayes to replace Jeff Carter. They didn't make any other really big moves, but it's Sid. He's won 3 cups with this team. I'm just excited to keep watching him play with the Penguins at this point. I don't have any other expectations besides that.
If they snuck in, it would be super exciting. And that's basically it, right? And that was it last year. 2 years ago, they lost to Chicago, the last game of the year, to allow Florida in and instead of them. And that's heartbreak. And last year, it's like, they're probably not good enough. Like one of the Islanders, Washington, them, and maybe a Detroit is going to get into that last spot. And
it's still fun when they come to town.
If they were the 8th seed, right?
Yeah.
Rather than watching Washington, to have Sid on Broadway in round 1 would have been so much better.
When the Penguins come to town, it's still a ticket you want to have. I remember it was a couple of years ago even. We were watching the game. We were up in, I think it was with Johnny Windwick. We were with, and Benny Bear. Benny Heaves was up there. We're watching the game. It's like, look at this power play. And it's Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Carlson, and Gensel. It's like, well, are they all Hall of Famers? We'll find out about Gensel. Carlson has probably done enough by now. Letang, he's got some stuff there. It's amazing to watch still in real time. Some of the greatest to do it in the last, our era, our generation.
It's too bad Marc-Andre Fleury didn't go back to this year. That would be the full nostalgia.
I still wait for that. What are you doing in Minnesota? Get back to Pittsburgh.
He's got 1 year left. They got a big kid there that's coming in, Wallstad, to play net soon. Monster. So we'll see.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long-form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.